Are the 49ers a Super Bowl contender? We ask this question every week. We have a different answer every week.
Yeah, that's the point. I want to be very careful on this. They won a couple of games against crummy teams, and their record was 3-2. And I'm looking online, and all of these pundits from all around the country who don't know crap about the Niners. There were three teams that's a Super Bowl contender, and every and the local media seems to agree. I don't know, and then they lose a game, and now they suck.
Yeah.
And now they're nothing. So I want to say, and I mean this, no irony, no joking around. Are they a Super Bowl contender? I don't have the slightest idea.
Yeah.
My answer is I don't have the slightest idea. I do know that they're in a really bad division, which I thought was a really good division. But that division is weak. They can win that division and still suck.
Also, their schedule is really easy. We thought it was going to be tough. They have the Chiefs, but like the Bucks just lost. It's not a tough schedule that they got coming up.
It's not a tough league.
It's not a tough. Good point.
Not a tough.
They don't have to face the NFC East. They don't have to face the Bills. They got some easy games. They got Arizona twice. They got the Rams again.
So I'm saying they can easily win that division, go to the playoffs, and still not be a good team,
right,
and even get a home game,
right,
and still not be a good team. They always say in sports, you never want to get too high and you never want to get too low. You won't want to get too high after they win a few games, say they're a Super Bowl contender, and you don't want to get too low after they lose to the lowly Falcons, say they're screwed. The point is, there's 2/3 of the season left to go. We don't know. Maybe some players will come back and maybe that'll make a difference, or maybe they really will suck. But the point is, I don't have the slightest idea. What do you think, Iggy?
Well, let's not write them off. But let's say what would have to happen for them to be a Super Bowl contender.
Love it.
The injuries would have to stop, and a lot of guys would have to come back. So we're already skeptical of that happening because the trend has been the other direction. But Trent Williams is coming back. Nick Bosa coming back. The only one who's not coming back is Trey Lance and Emmanuel Mosley. And I think really Emmanuel Mosley's the one that hurts the most.
And Kinlaw for 4 games.
Yeah, Kinlaw could come back. Armstead these guys could all come back. And again, the Niners have an easy schedule. They're probably going to win their division. So theoretically, by January, they could be really good again, minus Emmanuel Mosley. I don't think they're going to have the greatest defense of all time. With Mosley, with two great corners, and they were like, they had no weaknesses. Now they're back to the defense they had last year, which is excellent, but not the best of all time. So that now the offense is going to have to do something, and unless they figure out this whole fourth quarter thing. So yeah, they would have to get healthy and figure out the fourth quarter. Those are two things, and those both come back to Kyle.
Yeah, even if they get healthy, they're still going to have Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan had a 25-point lead in his first Super Bowl, scored no points in the fourth quarter. That game lost. He scored no points in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl with the Niners when he had a 10-point lead, lost. He scored no points in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game last year, lost. Had a 10-point lead going into that. So it's like, this is him. He could have the best defense. He could have he could have a 1,000,000-point lead. Can you score something in the second half, fourth quarter? Because you're probably going to be in the Super Bowl. You're probably going to go against a great quarterback.
Iggy, someone at The Athletic or the Chronicle or the Mercury News or the Sacramento Bee ought to write an article about his failures in the fourth quarter. I think that's a newsworthy article.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Mm-hmm. And it's topical this week, too, considering it just happened.
I think it's topical. And so if the editors of those papers are listening to us, and I know you guys do, I know you do, especially the Chronicle, I think you should assign somebody on that topic. Don't you?
Also, I agree. And also, I'm very proud of my analysis today of why the Niners offense isn't working. Everyone wants to know why it's not working. Everyone asks Kyle, why is it not? He has no answer. It's because of the pre-snap motions and shifts. I'm proud of that. And I'm wondering how long will it take for other analysts around the league to figure out that that's what's going on.
I'd like to add some other places that ought to tackle this subject. I think KNBR should. KNBR, it's a sports talk, and I don't listen anymore, but I happened to be listening after the loss the other day to the post game, and there was some guys. Now I know Dennis Brown is on there. He's a friend. He's the best. But
he's
there was
good.
some other guy talking, and he always said, "I don't mean to make use of blood." And what I noticed about KNBR, because they're a rights holder, they have broadcast. They make a lot of excuses for the 49ers. And I have a feeling, I can't prove it, so it's just Lowell's hypothesis, there's someone from the Niners who's bring down the hammer on them if he or she feels that they're not praising the Niners enough. What were you going to say, Iggy?
I've heard that that's the case. I've heard that there's a specific. I've even heard what the guy's name is, and I've heard that he does it at 95.7 too. From people who say that they've received the treatment from him. If you say something that's too critical or too on point, you will get a phone call from someone, and he will tell you he will argue with you. And also, what I've heard is to get a job with one of these places, this certain someone has to sign off.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. So when you wonder, hey, how come Grant gets 3.5 million views a month on YouTube, but these places around the Bay don't want to touch him? It's against the rules.
Right. You break the rules.
It's against the rules. I would never get the okay from the guy at the 49ers ever. And that's why you like me, because I don't have to be filtered through him.
And I got another. I'm a media guy, so I'm talking about media right now.
Yeah.
I do watch the post-game show on NBC Sports Bay Area. I am not talking about Mayoko. I'm talking about those three guys.
Oh, yeah. I don't watch that show.
Okay. Well, of course, you're at the game.
Yeah, I don't watch that show.
They make a lot of excuses, too. And what they do is even if the Niners get beat, they always talk about the good things the Niners did. I want to tell you one thing. It's the deepest wisdom I've ever learned as a sports writer. A loss is a bad thing.
Yeah.
In fact, a loss is the worst thing.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Kyle Shanahan was looking at the good things after that loss. When you're in a building after a loss, it's like a funeral. Iggy, it is a funeral.
And when they win, you say a win's a win, right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter how you got it, right? Well, the same thing with the loss. A loss is a loss. It doesn't matter if you had a moral victory. There are no moral victories in sports.
So those guys on NBC Sports Bay Area, they're looking for the good things. No, you got to come down hard. But again, that's a rights holder. They're in association with the Niners, and I wonder if they're getting phone calls saying, "Hey, let's keep it positive. Let's keep it positive." And I guess what I'm saying is so I look at that, I feel it's propaganda.
Absolutely. I mean, if someone on KNBR went on their show today and said Kyle Shanahan is a fraud and his scheme has been figured out and the pre-snap motion isn't working anymore, how quickly do you think that person would get a phone call, angry phone call, saying, "How can you say that? Who are you?"
Might even get fired.
Yeah, on our channel, you're going to say that? And again, that's why I'm doing so well, because so many people in this market have allowed themselves to be censored by this person that readers and viewers feel it now. It's like, wow. No one has anything critical to say about the 49ers except for Grant. Why? Because I'm the one guy who doesn't know my number. He would never call me.
Oh, he or she would have you.
But they don't have anything over SI.com. They don't have any. We're not a local TV station or a local website trying to get subscriptions and trying to get people on our podcast. Like, I'm not beholden to them like everyone else is, and it's nice. I would suggest it for other news. It's not even the writer's fault. It's the organization's fault. Why KNBR? What are their names? NBC. Why do you want to be in bed with the local team? Don't you want to have your own take on things? I do. Yeah, that's what makes this YouTube channel what it is. That's why people watch me.
Off on a little excursion about journalism, but I have to tell you, when it burns me up. I don't listen to KNBR. I watch on TV, but I happen to be driving around and I listen. I thought, this isn't journalism.
No,
not the way I learned it. And then when I watched the post game show on whatever it is, NBC Bay Area, this is journalism.
And if you want to be a cheerleader too, if you want to be a booster, you're not loyal to Kyle. You're loyal to the 49ers. And Jed needs to hear this shit. Jed needs to hear, hey, Jed, I know you really like Kyle and you think he gives you credibility. He's failing. The emperor has no clothes. What are you going to do about it? This is why the offense isn't working. Are you going to let D'Amico Ryans leave? Are you going to let Sean Payton go somewhere else? Or are you going to make something happen now? Because Eddie D would.
Oh,
Eddie D would.
Eddie D would have thrown a fit. I got to tell you, one time, I may have told you, Siggy, they would play the Candlestick, and they got beat, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Eddie, this is like a 10 or 15-minute cooling off period, so then they let us in. Mm-hmm. Eddie was in such a froth. He was so angry. He didn't care that the media was being let in. There was a phone on the wall. I guess you could call on the phone, whatever, you could call out. He was so angry. He had ripped the phone, but there's a little cord. It wasn't a cell phone. It was a phone on the wall. It looked like a tail. So I had a topic that I was going to write for my column. But I see Eddie running around with his phone, pissed. I wrote my whole column on him and the phone.
Of course. And I'm sure he did it in front of the media. He wanted that image in the columns. Are you kidding? He knew you would write that.
He was very angry.
Yeah, well, they can have it both ways then. It was in there and I was mad about it.